Alright, welcome to another episode. I've got the producer in the background kind of pacing. He's been wanting me to get on these videos here, the producer Moke. Let's introduce you to him here. Hang on. This is Moke. This is our producer. He's always up in my face trying to get on the table and the desk and figuring out what I'm doing. Plus he loves this robot, so you know what? He's the producer. We do all this for him, and his counterpart over here, I don't know what he is. He's like the what? I don't know. I think he's like the roadie. He just kind of shows up. You can hear him. Anyways, so what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to SSH into your Raspberry Pi after you've set it up, installed whatever flavor you want to go. We use Debian Wheeze without the desktop interface and all. In most of my tutorials, there's no sense of really doing the Raspberry Pi itself. That's just the way I roll. Alright, so before we get into our tutorial, our first tutorial here on SSHing into our Raspberry Pi, like I said again, if you feel free to go to our website, it shows you how to set it up. If not, there's a lot of good tutorials online how to do it. Maybe I think I'll do one on how to set up the Wi-Fi dongle and how to set up your static IP, because there's a lot of forums and stuff out there, but actually from everywhere I've seen except for one, they're all wrong. Go figure. What we're going to be building here is what you see on the bottom of the screen there is basically 1.2 of that rover right there. That's 1.0. 1.1 didn't work out so well. This is 1.2 tutorial, so we're going to go in and I'm going to show you how to right from programming, Google SketchUp, designing, where to find the parts on Thingiverse for modifying or just getting some ideas. And then we're going to scratch build our own circuit board and a few other things. So I'll show you what the rover looks like. I have the one wheel off because I'm kind of doing a tutorial right now on how to make a 360-degree servo, because you need it. And if you are like me and you're using just scrap parts for the parts you're not building, I have some old servos that I basically made 360-degree servos, so they're continuous. That's so I can get forward and backwards and all that stuff. And then here are lithium polymer 3500 milliamp batteries. I've got 3 of them on this rover. This right here is actually one part I got off of Thingiverse. It was the most awesome battery holder I've ever seen, so I just took it. No sense of reinventing the wheel, even though I did. And then these wheels, basically I got an arm for a Futaba end, because those are the old servos I'm using. And I got this wheel off of Thingiverse, and then I merged them both together, so it worked out pretty good. And I'll show you guys how to do that in Google SketchUp. Now the body, I did start off by getting some designs off of Thingiverse, but then I just designed my own, and I was going to have it turn in the center, but I found with the way that I did my programming for my servos, it was better just to make it one stiff body, and it works out really well. The thing will turn on a dime, so it's awesome that way. Like I say, I've got one of the servos off, but as you can see on this servo, it only goes halfway up. The servo, sorry about the whole camera thing, just getting used to it. It's backwards to how I am. And then basically you got your Raspberry Pi here. And then this whole back business is my power supply, and basically a board for holding where my servos to my Raspberry Pi hook up, so I can control that. This is a pretty big beefy fan and heat sink on this, but I'm breaking down 15 volts by the time this battery is fully charged down to 5. So it conducts quite a bit of heat through my regulator, and driving on carpet and stuff, it makes the regulator hurt and shut down. So I didn't need this big one, but I can do it, and I wanted to put a fan on it. So basically, if I fire it up, so I've got a blue light that tells me I've got power. Basically, these batteries on the side are shooting out 15 plus volts. They come over here to where the blue light is. I'm just going to turn off the whole thing for a minute. Into my regulator, and then out of my regulator, it supplies my servos with 5 volts. And then I put this meter here just so I can see instead of metering it all the time, which I 3D printed this case too. It's pretty cool. I'm using it for a couple other projects. So I'm just going to fire it up again. As you can see, the fan starts up as soon as I do that. Now my Raspberry Pi has a total separate power supply from my motor control. I just wanted to separate it, that way I've got way more stable power. Plus, when I put my solar panels on 1.3, then it'll work out good. But so basically, this is what we're going to end up building. I do have videos on. Oh, I haven't posted them on here yet, but I think they are on YouTube. And nope, they will be. So I'll have videos of this actually driving around. I have one of my cat, the producer Moke, walking around it. He thinks it's a fun little toy to see what's going on. So anyways, this is the rover. The one we're going to be building will probably end up being pretty much the same deal. But we're gonna, like I said, we're going to scratch build our own circuit boards and stuff like that. So hope you enjoy. Alright, so here we go. We're going to, right now, I'm using a Mac. I've brought up Terminal. Let's see if I can make that show up over here. Okay, so down here on your Mac, I had to go in, before I locked it to my toolbar, I had to go into Finder and type in Terminal into the search bar. Every Mac's got Terminal. Every Linux has got Terminal. Windows call it a console. With Windows, you're going to have to download a program called Putty. I use it a lot. Actually, I installed it on this, and it wasn't really a great version of Putty, but it works. I use it from my cell phones, so I can SSH into my devices. So anyways, you're going to go here. You're going to start up Terminal. Alright, so now that we've got Terminal open, it's more my video setup than I don't know how to do it. So what we're going to do is you're going to type in SSH at, or Pi at, whatever your IP address is. I statically set this in my Pi. Like I say, go back to our web page to learn how to do that. And I think I called it 7. Yep, so now it wants my password. And we're in. So basically, right now, what I like to do to get rid of what I've typed is I type clear a lot because I like to work on a fresh page. So here's a few commands that you'll want to learn when you're dealing with Linux or here Raspberry Pis. A couple ones that got me started, of course, is to figure out what is in this directory. Linux and Pi are directory driven, so it's like your folders in Windows. But instead of clicking on it in Linux, all you need to do is type in a command. So I want to find out what's in this directory I'm in. So I'm going to type ls. So there's only one folder in this fresh install. So what I'm going to want to do is, first off, let's find out where we are. To find out what directory you're in, I type pwd. So that brings up, I'm in home/pi. So that is like the username. So if there was other users on here, it'd be home / whatever your username was. From the original install, I always leave Pi. It just makes life easier. We're not building a server here yet. We will be in some aspects, but we're not building like a web server or anything out of our Pi, which you can do, which really impressed me about the Pi. So first off, we're going to build a projects directory. We're going to go make mkdir directory. We're going to call it projects, and then we're going to type enter. So now if I do the ls command, that's what you get. You can see the projects. Now for me to go from where I am into that projects folder, I'm going to type change directory cd, and then I'm just going to start typing projects, and then I'm going to hit my tab bar, and it's going to auto save it, which saves a lot of time when you're dealing in command lines. I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see now, it's come up in blue, so it's got pi rover / project. So that means we are in that folder. I'm going to do ls, and there's nothing in here. So basically right there is how to build a directory, which is really important. Basically the first step you want to do, the producer and the roadie are fighting. Basically it's a good start. So try that out. Check us out. We're going to keep these tutorials going. A lot of these tutorials I'm doing, not just based on showing the world what I know or what I can do. This is actually going to become an archive of my projects, because I've done so many projects in my life and never really kept good record of what I was doing. So now I hope you guys enjoy what we are doing here. Please leave some comments below, and we're gonna start this off new because we're new to YouTube, and we're gonna get tips and tricks. I watch a lot of YouTube videos to figure out what I do. I do a lot of searching on the web to figure it out. I have no formal education in building robots or Pi or programming or whatever. It's just persistence. It's persistence and figuring out what I want to learn. Instead of going to the bar or, watching TV or movies or playing video games. This is my video game. Not that I'm not a gamer, because I am. And so this is basically what's in my brain.